What's up, Westfield?
We're here to talk about ways you can integrate technology into your day-to-day to help you be techie as heck.
I'm Kristen Morris.
And I'm Shelley Knapp.
And this is your TechRocks podcast. All right, to kick off today's episode, we just want to reflect a little bit about last week with Fail Better. We had a great experience with that today, didn't we, Shelley?
Oh, it has been an amazing fail.
Amazing fail. We don't have Samantha, and Samantha is our switchboard person. She makes sure our sound system and our switchboard are working.
Yep.
And it took us about an extra 10 minutes to get it working.
Yep. We had some awesome echoes going on at the start. And then we realized there was only one microphone working. And then our journey to discovering that the battery was failing.
Right. Because every time we'd start to record, we'd be like, hey, guys, what's up? And then it would just die. And we didn't realize that it did not charge whilst being plugged into
Did you know that technology has to charge?
Technology has to charge. And usually there's these little hints like these like lights.
Yeah.
But if you've ever seen a switchboard for podcasting, there's kind of a lot of lights and a lot of buttons.
Yep. It's very, very flashy.
Very flashy. Well, good news was Shelley realized where we could charge.
Yeah. I found the port. I was very proud.
We didn't even have to call TSG.
No, we did not.
We did not. We were problem solvers. We were curious clickers and plugger inners.
Yep.
And so we were like super jazzed because we checked our mics, we had it charging, and we shot an amazing 19-minute podcast for you guys.
Yeah, it was stellar.
It was a real delight. So while we waited for the podcast to download so we could start cutting the audio a little bit, the audio never came.
No, it sure did not.
No.
It just is out there in the ether, just hanging out.
So we start about 1 o'clock on Thursdays with our podcasting session, and right now it's about 2:30.
Yep, 2:30.
Generally, we're packed up and on to our next meetings by now.
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Good thing today's slate was a little clearer than last week.
Yes, it's serendipitous. It worked out.
Yes. So, spoiler alert, we did a whole 19-minute episode for you guys, and there was no audio. So,
because you cannot charge and record at the same time.
You can't.
That is the lesson that we learned from our failed better moment.
Our switchboard here said, nah.
Yeah.
So we're keeping a close watch on these charging lights for you all. So we'll see how this session goes today. But we did want to get into episode 3 here, Igniting Passions. And it starts with Shelley's origin story.
That's right. I have not been able to talk about my origin story, and it does tie nicely to the topic at hand. So
all right, let's hear it. Let's kick it.
For it. Okay. So I went to school. Well, we're going to start way back. I come from a very long line of teachers. My grandmother was a high school English teacher. My mother was a professor at K-State University, now retired. Aunt and uncle were both teachers. My twin sister was an elementary school teacher for a beat and then became an HR director of her school district. So education is like in my blood.
In your blood. That's a lot of teachers in the family.
It is a lot of teachers in the family. And it was always almost like a foregone conclusion that I would go into education. But no pressure to do so. It was just kind of innate. And so I went to Butler University.
Go Dogs!
I know.
Do you know that there's a really cool cheer at Butler?
I do not.
Do you remember any of your Butler cheers?
I do not have Butler cheer knowledge. I think your experience at Butler was slightly different.
I know. We'll see. All right. Can I teach it to you?
Yeah. Okay. Go for it.
Okay. So my line, when I finish, your job is just to yell, heck yeah.
Okay.
And we're keeping it nice for our tech yeah podcast here.
Yes, we are. PG.
At Butler, we would say something a little different. I think you can figure it out. All right. So my part, when I'm done, you just say heck yeah with some gust.
Okay, I can do it.
Okay, here we go. BUTLERU, a bulldog.
Heck yeah.
Woo! Go Dogs. All right, sorry guys.
I have a new Butler experience.
Yeah, well, you'll hear it if you go to the games. They still chant that. I was at a Butler game a couple weeks ago, and I was able to do my favorite cheer.
Yeah, I did not partake in a lot of the sports sessions. That's probably why I didn't stick, but you were a very good cheer.
Thank you. Sure. Thank you. And you're welcome for showing you that.
Thank you.
Yeah, go Dogs. All right, back to business.
So I was more the bookworm, hidden the books, studying and all that jazz. Not that you weren't, but I
wasn't. I actually would allow myself 30 minutes to get a paper done, and if it wasn't done in those 30 minutes, then what happened?
I would have a heart attack.
There was no proofreading. We have very different styles.
Love it. No, but we mowed well. Okay, so I had an amazing education at Butler. My senior year, obviously, from going into education, student teaching is part of it. And my professor in charge of my student teaching experience, Dr. Jeffrey Marshall, was amazing. And at the end of it, I asked him to write a letter of recommendation, as you do, so that you can start applying for all the jobs. And I remember a line that he wrote in my recommendation to this day, and it's really stayed with me and cemented my identity in the education world and now in this new world that I'm in as a tech integration specialist. And that phrase was that I was unapologetically passionate. And I think that's so impactful to not apologize for what you're jazzed about and not to have any sort of embarrassment with shame in your game. And
there really is no shame in your game.
There really isn't.
I mean, you're launching the whole Grinchmas.
I am, yes.
And you are in front of that camera?
I am, and I'm acting like a news reporter. And this PD that I'm doing now really reflects how I was as a teacher. I mean, I dressed up like Mother Nature in the classroom. I would do relays. I would do literary Pictionary. I was just this very creative, kind of bursting with enthusiasm for what I was doing. And I really think that that can be contagious. And I stepped away from the classroom because I started having lots of babies, and the commute to Plainfield, which is where I was teaching, was like 45 minutes on 465 every day. It was crazy. So I stepped away, but I missed it. I missed the education world so much that I just, because kind of perusing job openings in Westfield School District here and there, and I saw the tech specialist post, and I was like, well, okay, so yeah, creativity is a big piece of this job description, but obviously technology as well. And I was always kind of that try new tech program teacher, trying to dig in and find something new that would engage the students. And so I just went for it. I was like, okay, I'm just going to apply and see what comes. And here I am. And I am, again, unapologetically passionate about pushing out PD experiences that are a little cheese ball, but are engaging, and you walk away with something. So I think that's a really important piece of igniting passions, is that when you dig into a passion, that you're really invested. You don't have any apologies for it.
Well, that, and I think, like you said, if you're modeling that you're passionate and unapologetic about it, I think, like you said, that kind of wears off on other people. And it may not be the same passion, right? Like,
right.
Just because you're passionate about X, Y, or Z doesn't mean that the next person's going to come along and see that and be like, yes, that's what I want to do too. Right. Maybe they might, but when you're in that state and you're viewed as passionate and you're viewed as reaching some of those goals because you're passionate, it makes people think about that. Like, how do I do that for myself and my passions, right? Mm-hmm. So that's like a perfect role for you, right? You get to model for teachers, you get to go out and be passionate about technology and hopefully catch that spark a little bit to show teachers what they can do with tech.
Yep.
So it seems like a really fitting role.
It is. My origin story has really come full circle. I really feel like I found my niche, and I'm very much enjoying this new role. Now we're just trying to figure out the puzzle piece of how do we ignite that passion about technology to teachers and then to the trickle down effect to students.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that technology has such a great place for showcasing passions. Because we were talking earlier, on the first take of this podcast, technology has such a way to reach people in other spaces. Mm-hmm. Our kids spend so much time interacting with tech, going onto YouTube, watching other people on YouTube. And when you have those opportunities for kids to interact with tech, for kids to create with tech, they have an opportunity to show their passions and share it with people not directly in front of them, right? Mm-hmm. People in the next room. So the next classroom can show, hey, look what my kids did. Use this as your model. And the teacher next door can be like, great, I have student models from next door that I can now show to my kids. It's in this technology place. And now it's catching fire over there. Those, that grade level can show another grade level, can show another school with our CTLs are actually meeting right next door. And some of that technology piece just allows these teachers to share with each other, right? Mm-hmm. So you can take your great ideas, your passions, share it with the school, next door.
Yeah. I mean, the landscape of what engages young people and even us has changed so much. And so when we're looking at education, we need to keep up with that landscape. I mean, My daughter literally speaks in a language that I don't know.
Correct.
Like Riz, Pookie, Skibbity Toilet. You know any of those fun ones?
I don't. I'm not sure if you even said things that were appropriate for our podcast.
Probably did not, because I need a dictionary to understand her at sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how teachers feel a little bit about technology too. It's like, how I'm going to find the time to learn this new language, quote unquote, and how am I going to engage students who are in a world that is so unfamiliar to me, because what I was passionate about and how I teach and the pedagogy I use that I'm passionate about, the landscape is now changing, and how do I keep up with that? It's a very daunting time to be a teacher. And
I could agree with that for sure. But one thing, like you said, these kids have these superpowers that we don't necessarily possess because we didn't grow up with that.
Yeah.
And so they've got all these tech skills. But what I think is really cool about igniting passion is part of the fun is to be able to share that passion with others, like allow them to see that passion. So when I think of technology and the skills that our kids might have coming to us, what they already have in store, how empowering is it for you as a teacher to allow them to show some of that? So, like, do you really have to be the master of all of those tech terms and those tech abilities? Or is there a space on the floor for students to lead their learning with some of this tech and to teach you as they go along?
Yeah. I think, and I was somebody who loved what I taught, and the content was, so enriching for me to talk about that I'd almost become the sage on the stage in the classroom. And I'd have to check myself that might not be the best way to reach the kiddos sitting in front of me. And I think capitalizing on the world that they're growing up in is a very easy bridge, and just making it like part of their day so that it's almost like a habit that they're used to. And then that way, when you get to a big project like a summative where you're wanting to use this new tech tool, but you've already had little moments of that tech tool sprinkled throughout, that it could make the use of technology more digestible.
Yeah, and as we're using this technology too, we're grasping some of those learners who may be more hesitant to join in. I worked with a fourth grade teacher last year, and one of my favorite quotes from her was, "I just didn't expect the use of Canva to allow a kid that I've barely gotten any work from to just showcase all of their learning." It is a moment of such pride for that child to be able to have a product that they created and that they are passionate about, and it showcases their learning. It went right along with our lessons, and these were some of my special education students.
Mm-hmm.
And she said it was just been very difficult for them to engage in some of the book club, to engage in some of the learning, and here they are pumping out audio recordings or making posters on Canva to demonstrate their learning because we've unlocked another level of sharing your knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids are so good at sharing their knowledge online, right? In this open space. They love group chats. They love texting. They love creating those little TikTok videos.
They love podcasts, which is why, in part, why we're doing this is because this is part of our culture right now, listening for information and finding pockets in our day where we could just learn something new. We're already doing, it's like you read a book, right, about habit stacking. And so it's almost like double upping on what you can do with your time.
Yeah, so the book is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. He actually, obviously just me. He sends me an email every week called 321. Actually, you can all sign up for it. He sends millions of people this email. But it goes along with the book nicely. And actually over at Monon, we're going to be doing a book study on atomic habits. And this is a great thing to think about, not only in your life with teaching or outside of life, but the tech piece falls right into that. So for me, the habit stacking, I've tried really hard to find a habit I wanted to stack. And I wanted to get more exercise in, but I didn't want to spend time exercising because I was missing out on things I was doing with my kids or my family.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to find ways that I could add exercise into my day. And so I have a habit of brushing my teeth in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe you do too. But it's 2 minutes. I listen to my toothbrush and I do the full 2 minutes. So it's like 2 minutes of wasted time where all I'm doing is staring in the mirror, brushing my teeth.
Right.
So I thought, well, how could I add my core work into that? So I do actually like standing side crunches as I brush my teeth. It takes a lot of balance. So I'm working on my balance, working on my core, getting my teeth brushed all in 2 minutes. And so now it's a habit that I already had in place. Every morning I have to wash my face, brush my teeth. Otherwise my day cannot start. I don't know how people sometimes just go downstairs and even eat breakfast and then brush their teeth. Makes sense. But for me, I cannot leave the bedroom without like making sure my teeth are clean. So this is a great habit for me to just stack with my core work. And it's funny because people will be like, I wouldn't be able to balance. And at first I couldn't either. Things were a little dicey. But now I've got it down. It's part of my day. I can catch myself if I'm brushing my teeth and I'm just standing there and I'm like, whoa, like you have a habit you've stacked onto this and it's natural now.
Yeah.
And so like when relating that in the classroom or giving those students those extra minutes to get the tech in, what can that be stacked on? Could that be part of morning work? So now your morning work has turned into an audio recording for the student or a video recording of them, or even just some digital work. So then it's in one place every time. So could that little habit of morning work be turned into a way for them to use technology? And maybe it's a straight substitution for right now. And that's okay. That's one of our lower level uses of technology is just to substitute that pencil paperwork into a technology piece, but that's building a habit. So in the morning, I come in, I've learned how to use these tools. It becomes second nature. Now, when I have a beautiful project that I want to showcase my knowledge for, I already know all the little things because I do it every morning.
Yeah.
And so now I'm focused on sharing what I've learned with my teacher, with my classmates, with the class next door, with the school next door. And now my information is out there.
I mean, I think it's a perfect way to get these little bite-sized moments of tech infusion. And the same for teachers as well. Like what parts of your day where you could habit stack and learn something new? I think passion needs to be reinvigorated in order for it to have any sort of longevity. And so, what part of your day could you habit stack a tech learning moment? And, Tech PD, I think, has a stigma that it's long and tedious and it's 2 hours of learning something new and all the ins and outs. And oh my gosh, how I'm going to remember that. But it really can be bite-sized moments of just like, hey, this tech tool has this one feature and I just learned how to use it and I'm pretty jazzed about it.
Right. And then even going back to, you've learned that little piece, now show that little piece to your class and see where they take it. Because a lot of them already have this passion for tech and tech integration. And I've just seen it so many times where their eyes light up when they've shared something with me. And they think because I'm part of the TIS team that I know all. So they get real jazzed when they show me something I don't know. But that's the funny part. I don't know it all. There is no possible way for me to know every in and out of any of these tech tools that we use. You're not going to as a teacher. They're not going to as a student. But as a collective, the amount of things that we can learn about the tech, me, the teacher, the kids, all in one space working together, we've got a lot of minds there to grow with, right? Yeah. And that's what's the cool piece about integrating the tech and integrating our TIS team as well.
Teachers can continue to learn and the learners in the classroom can continue to teach. It's like
full circle.
It is full circle.
It's a full circle moment. And relying on other people and just having some of those adults in the classroom to work with you as well, just more minds, and just allowing ourselves to have those aha moments, like as we're learning, or even those moments of, heck no. I remember doing stuff in the classroom. I'd be like, oh, no, never.
Oh, no.
No. And you know what? That's like, no. How's that TikTok go? Oh, no. You know which one I'm talking? No, you don't.
I do not.
Somebody out there does. And I didn't do it right. So you can make fun of me later. But that's the reality. And I think that was the biggest joy for me for teaching is being able to have that space in those moments. And I know those space and moments are hard to come by because we've got new curriculum, especially in the elementary. Brand new math curriculum last year, brand new CKLA this year. That's a lot. That's a lot to cover.
It is.
So, how can we ignite some of those passions for you? What are you passionate about when you're teaching? What are your kids passionate about? And how can we make times for those? Even when it's like back to habit stacking. By the way, thank you, Dan Brita, for introducing me to James Clear and habit stacking. Where would I be without it? Where would my core be?
I know.
Without it.
It's an amazing core.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're about out of time today, so we just want to remind you to stay
techie as tech.